The Sea of Japan, 1:52 p.m. A blindingly bright afternoon. Skies crystal clear and deceptively peaceful. The USS John Finn, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, cuts through the gentle swells on a routine patrol 100 kilometers from the forbidding coast of North Korea, a standard freedom of navigation operation. Then, a single piercing alarm shatters the calm. North Korean radar has locked on. A hard, unblinking electronic stare. Seconds later, deep within fortified mountains near Pyongyang, two massive Hwasong-15 intercontinental ballistic missiles, the regime's most powerful, nuclear-capable weapons, ignite with a world-shaking roar. Pillars of fire tear into the sky. But this is no test launch into the empty Pacific. The trajectories, calculated instantly by orbiting Space Force satellites and the ship's own advanced SPY-6 radar, tell a terrifying, unprecedented story. These missiles are not aimed at Guam, not at Japan. They are aimed directly at the USS John Finn, one American destroyer, 300 souls. Pyongyang's cold calculation unfolds in real time. Fire two city-destroying ICBMs at a single warship, force it to flee in humiliation, or be vaporized in a demonstration of absolute power. A message to the world that North Korea can strike the U.S. Navy anywhere. Maximum intimidation. They believed those warheads would hit. They believed they would destroy the destroyer, kill hundreds, and humiliate a superpower. But in their audacity, they made four fatal, miscalculated mistakes. First, Arleigh Burke destroyers, especially the John Finn, are not just ships. They are floating fortresses built around the Aegis combat system, designed specifically to hunt and kill ballistic missiles in the cold vacuum of space. Second, the USS John Finn had just completed its most advanced missile defense trials. Its crew was drilled, hardened, and primed for this exact nightmare scenario. Third, unbeknownst to Pyongyang, two U.S. Air Force B-1B Lancer bombers, call signs Bone 01 and *02*, were already airborne and orbiting just 60 miles away, their bays full of JASSM stealth cruise missiles, armed and waiting for a flash order. Fourth and most decisive, the moment those North Korean boosters cleared their silos, 11 critical missile facilities across the Arid Kingdom were already painted by targeting systems, authorized for immediate and total elimination. What followed was not a battle, but a swift, surgical, and devastating lesson. 36 minutes. Two ICBMs intercepted and obliterated high above the Earth. 11 launch sites, assembly plants, and command bunkers turned to smoldering rubble. North Korea's prized ICBM program set back half a decade. This is that story. The Sea of Japan, a strategic cauldron of tension, the waters between the Korean peninsula and Japan. Here, the U.S. Navy maintains a constant, vigilant patrol, a steel sentinel monitoring the unpredictable North, ensuring freedom of navigation, and silently vowing to defend allies. The USS John Finn, named for a Pearl Harbor hero, was the sharp tip of that spear, one of the fleet's most advanced warships. Its brain was the Aegis Baseline 9 combat system. Its fists were SM-3 Block II interceptors, kinetic kill vehicles designed to smash into enemy warheads at mind-bending speeds in the mesosphere. At 0900 hours, the John Finn departed Yokosuka Naval Base, Japan. Mission orders were clear: patrol, monitor, maintain presence. Commander Michael Chun, the ship's captain, briefed his crew. North Korea has been threatening tests. We are here to observe and to defend if necessary. He ordered modified readiness. What Chun did not share over the 1MC was the classified intercept from U.S. Strategic Command. Communications intelligence indicated unusual, coordinated activity at multiple ICBM sites. This wasn't just a routine tantrum. Something bigger was brewing. By 11:30 a.m., the John Finn was holding station 100 kilometers off the coast, firmly in international waters. At 12:45 p.m., Japanese Self-Defense Force radar pinged with a warning. Movement at a major missile base near Pyongyang. 2 Hwasong-15 ICBMs, behemoths with a range capable of striking anywhere in the United States, were being rolled out to their launch pads. The alert flashed to the John Finn. 2 ICBMs being prepared. Unknown target. Maintain defensive posture. By 1:15 p.m., both missiles stood vertical. Fueling began. But the geometry was all wrong. Satellite imagery showed the launch pads were not oriented toward the usual test ranges. They were adjusted, ever so slightly, to the southeast, directly toward the John Finn's patrol box. At 1:35 p.m., the confirmation arrived from Strategic Command. The message was chilling in its clarity. Warning: NK missiles appear targeted toward your position. This may not be a test launch. Prepare for possible engagement. You are weapons free. Commander Chun's voice, calm but iron-hard, echoed through the ship. General quarters. General quarters. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. The John Finn transformed in an instant from a patrol vessel into a bristling weapon of war. The Aegis system powered to full combat capability. The SPY-6 radar, the most powerful ever put to sea, began scanning the entire dome of the sky. In their vertical launch cells, SM-3 interceptors stood ready. In a Pyongyang command bunker, the final order was given. Fire both missiles at the American destroyer. Show them our power. At 1:52 p.m., the earth trembled. 2 Hwasong-15s erupted from their pads, climbing on columns of flame and thunder. U.S. satellites saw the infrared balloons instantly. Japanese and South Korean radar tracked them. And aboard the John Finn, the Aegis system plotted their deadly arc. Within 15 seconds, the computer calculated impact prediction. Both missiles aimed at the ship's exact position. Time to impact, 6 minutes. Commander Chun made the call that echoed through decades of naval warfare. Confirmed hostile launch. 2 ICBMs inbound. Engage with all defensive systems. Fire interceptors now. At 1:53 p.m., with a concussive thump-thump from the forward decks, 2 SM-3 Block I IA missiles shot into the blue, accelerating to Mach 15, racing to meet the threat in the void of space. High above the atmosphere, the North Korean missiles, now in their mid-course phase, were traveling at Mach 20. They were weapons of apocalyptic potential, but they were being hunted. At 1:55 p.m., the first SM-3 reached altitude. Its kinetic kill vehicle, a sophisticated, guided projectile, no larger than a coffee table separated. Small thrusters fired, making minute adjustments. An infrared seeker locked onto the white-hot signature of the first Hwasong. At 1:56 p.m., 300 kilometers above the Pacific, the interception occurred. A hypervelocity impact. The kinetic kill vehicle, traveling at Mach 15, collided with the ICBM warhead bus, traveling at Mach 20. The combined speed of 25,000 kilometers per hour released energy equivalent to a ton of high explosives. The first Hwasong-15 disintegrated into a harmless cloud of debris. 30 seconds later, the second SM-3 found its mark. A second direct hit. A second cataclysmic flash in the silent blackness. Both North Korean ICBMs were now dust, their remnants destined to burn up harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. On the bridge of the John Finn, the report came in, both missiles destroyed. Threat eliminated. 0 casualties. 0 damage. 2 ICBMs, worth hundreds of millions of dollars each, had been swatted from the sky by interceptors costing a fraction of the price. But the story was only half written. The moment the John Finn's radars had locked onto the launches, a pre-authorized cascade of consequences had been unleashed. North Korea had just fired nuclear-capable strategic weapons at a U.S. Navy vessel. This was an act of war. The response would be immediate, disproportionate, and definitive. At 1:53 p.m., as the SM-3S were still climbing, the two orbiting B-1B Lancers received their flash order. Bone 01-2. You are authorized immediate strike. Weapons free. Their internal bays opened, and 48 JASSM stealth cruise missiles dropped away, their engines igniting, wings snapping out, flying autonomously toward a pre-programmed list of 11 critical facilities. The target list was comprehensive. The two launch sites that had just fired, 4 ICBM assembly plants, 3 storage bunkers, 2 launch control centers. Simultaneously, from Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, 6 U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles launched, loaded for bear. Their mission: obliterate the air defense radars, protecting the missile complex. From South Korea, 4 F-15K Slam Eagles joined the fray, authorized by their president to strike. And lurking beneath the surface, the USS Michigan, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine, surfaced just long enough to receive its orders before firing a salvo of 60 Tomahawk cruise missiles from its vertical launch tubes. From Guam, B-52 Stratofortresses turned toward the peninsula, adding 72 more precision JDAM bombs to the maelstrom. The combined strike package, 284 precision-guided weapons, converged on North Korea in a symphony of orchestrated destruction. The operation, dubbed Steel Rain, unfolded with clinical precision. At 2:12 p.m., the first wave hit. US F-15Es launched anti-radiation missiles that homed in on and destroyed a dozen North Korean air defense radar sites, blinding the regime's integrated air defenses. At 2:15 p.m., South Korean fighters eliminated coastal early warning stations. At 2:24 p.m., the JASSM missiles from the B-1B SIS began impacting. Launch Site Alpha vanished under a storm of high-explosive penetrators. The mobile launcher was shredded, support vehicles blown apart, the fuel depot detonating in a secondary fireball that lit up the afternoon. Launch Site Bravo met the same fate. The Sahe Satellite Launching Station, a dual-use facility critical to ICBM testing, was struck by 12 missiles. Its gantry collapsed like a house of cards. The Sanungdong assembly plant, the very factory where Hwasong missiles were built, was pulverized. Its production lines and tooling turned to scrap. At 2:26 p.m., the submarine-launched Tomahawks arrived, burrowing into underground storage bunkers near Kasong, their warheads collapsing reinforced entrances and crushing missiles still in their cradles. Command and control bunkers were penetrated and gutted. The Strategic Rocket Force headquarters outside Pyongyang took a direct hit. By 2:28 p.m., just 36 minutes after the first North Korean ICBM had left its pad, the operation was complete. The damage assessment was total. 11 primary ICBM facilities annihilated, TWENT, while 3 supporting installations destroyed. An estimated 6 additional Hwasong missiles destroyed in their storage bunkers. 762 North Korean military personnel, from launch crews to command staff, eliminated. The cost to the Allied forces, 0. Not a single aircraft lost, not a single sailor injured. The USS John Finn, its mission accomplished, steamed on, untouched. North Korea's decades-long, multi-billion-dollar ICBM program had been set back 5 to 7 years and half an hour. So the ledger stands. 1:52 p.m., North Korea fires its crown jewels at a U.S. destroyer. 1:56 p.m., both ICBMs are turned to space dust by defensive interceptors. 2:28 p.m., the entire infrastructure that launched them lies in ruins. The lesson is written in fire and steel. Never fire strategic weapons at American ships. Never test the shield of Aegis, for it is backed by a sword of unimaginable reach and precision. Never mistake restraint for weakness, because 36 minutes later, your most prized military program can be erased from the earth, and the destroyer you sought to sink will sail calmly on, silhouetted against the setting sun, having written its own reply in the sky.